Hello, and welcome to the Day the Dragons Wore Black. My name is Ebube, and you are listening to Popcorn for Dinner. In this episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the final one of the first season, we mourn an incredible character, we look to the future, and we take stock of the characters that we've grown to know over the past 6 episodes, understanding what they want, how they're feeling, and really, I guess, the meaning of life. Dunk might have some answers. Lionel definitely has things to say. But I think probably Raymond might be the person who has learned the most this season. And he probably has advice for all the single men out there who are not married, not engaged, not having prospects, not feeling like they'll be anything above whatever their cousin tells them they will be. But I'm here to tell you guys, there is hope. There is peace, and there is a future, because there is someone for everyone. And you know what? While I'm here, I just want to thank everybody for their condolences. Last week, I was not in the best state because I thought I had been bamboozled, but in truth, I wasn't bamboozled. This is exactly what I signed up for.
Yep.
In a real way, the death of Baylor Breakspear is actually the most quintessentially Game of Thrones thing this show has done for a number of reasons, and there are layers to that. And I think it speaks
Absolutely.
very highly of the writing in that they can do something like this, and they can do it quietly. They can do it in a way that is natural to the story, not for any grandiose statement, but essentially showing that honor has a cost, and sometimes bad things happen to good people. So, I guess for a second now. Well, I mean, hey, by the way, Afam and Soonen are here. I'm not just soapboxing on my own.
I mean, I have some thoughts about, Baylor's death and what it means in this story, but I think we'll get to that point.
We can get to it now, actually, because Baylor's death and what it means is essentially something that the characters are wrestling with quite a lot, especially in the first half of the episode. You know, the initial conversations between Dunk and Lionel, for example, you can see Dunk really, really feeling guilt greater than anything he's ever felt, because he understands what has been lost. He understands what, his own life has kind of cost here. And the ironic thing about that is he doesn't. He understands it, but he doesn't understand it. We understand it because we know what kind of insane world is about to be wrought from everything that has taken place here. This is the most random thing anyone could have ever seen, but it just tells you George R. R. Martin is incredible at this stuff, because how is it possible that such an event, a freak accident essentially, changed the course of history? Like, that kind of thing only happens basically in real life. And this guy essentially is really, really good at writing real life. And I find that very impressive. So, I think it makes sense to actually discuss Baylor and everyone's different perspective on him. Like, we've seen the death. We understand how the audience is feeling. But I think the way the characters are feeling specifically can tell us a lot about, what they're going to do next. So I guess, so that you can share your initial thoughts, and then we can start with Dunk.
Yeah, for sure. So and this will come about when we discuss Lionel's response to it, but there is an argument to be made, right, that Baylor's death was divine retribution for him doing something dishonorable, which is not participating in combat at face level, right? The whole thing of, I'll go fight the King's Guard. I remember, in the book it was Sir Lionel, but in the show it was Robin Riesling
that
saying,
asked if it was honorable to do that.
Is that honorable? Exactly.
And actually, wasn't there also something else where he said that in the books that they should use tourney lances because they are longer?
Tourney lances. Thank you for bringing that up. So in the book, Baylor is such a jousting nerd, right? That he's like, well, the tourney lances, which are the lances without the sharp points that are used for regular jousts, those are about 2 feet longer than lances of war. So in addition to him like trying to game the system with the Kingsguard, he also added that fact. Now, the existence of gods in Westeros is very interesting. There are certain gods that we know exist, like the red god R'hllor. We've seen him or her do stuff. We also know that the old gods exist. I mean, with the whole werewood and all that fantastical stuff in the north.
And then there's the gods of Valyria.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The many-faced god. Now, the 7 is one that is a little bit more subtle. But I think partly Baelor's death is could be framed as a divine response to someone trying to game a divine offering, basically, which is what a trial of 7 is.
That is interesting. That's an interesting point, because the Septon who speaks before the battle does say, "May death sustain life."
Exactly.
And essentially let the guilty be brought to heel.
Exactly.
So that's an interesting point, to say that, the gods saw that and were essentially dishonored by the intent.
Mm-hmm. That
Okay.
it's definitely a frame there.
Afam, what do you think?
Man, I just say fuck Arian. I'm still in that headspace. You guys can have your philosophical conversations, but I feel like it came down to 2 men. If he had just done the one-on-one fight the way he should have, I still don't even know if he would have beaten Dunk or if Dunk would have beaten him, but it just like he caused a chaotic situation that involved everyone fighting, and
yeah, it's all
maybe
his fault.
There's divine intervention, maybe it's just damn luck, maybe it's just unfortunate, but like,
yeah,
I'm still like grieving.
I stand by that. I stand by you. It's all his fault, because the truth is, in a system that was engineered to let him succeed, he believed he could defeat Sir Duncan the Tall. But he wasn't ready to fight Dunk of Fleabottom. And Dunk of Fleabottom was the one who destroyed him. Because in the end, after everything, it still came down to him fighting Dunk of Fleabottom, and he could not handle that.
And he lost.
Like, this was literal throwing of hands. And yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. Like, imagine stabbing somebody that many times and they still deck you.
And he still gets up.
It's crazy. Yeah. At this point, I think we can calmly and just strongly conclude that is easily the best battle in any of the Game of Thrones shows. If it reveals so much about character, it is amazingly choreographed. It gives you more every time you rewatch it, because there's so much happening right before the eyes. It's just so well done, and I appreciate that. And I actually want to take a moment before we talk about Dunk's feelings on Baelor, to shout out the directors. Like, the directors of this show are incredible. Like, Arapaka, still avoid me. Hold on for a second. Like, we'll be okay eventually. But yeah, but Sarah Dina Smith and Owen Harris, yeah, they are doing an incredible job. Like, Owen Harris is actually the one who directed episode 5. And he's actually done a lot of interesting work on Black Mirror. I believe the episode San Junipero, that was
he directed San Junipero. Wow.
That was him. Yeah.
Wow.
So he's somebody who really understands how to really give you a feast for the eyes, even on a small, like, he doesn't need a grandiose budget essentially to do it. Like, he kind of understands what story beats should be, and he's able to apply them. And I think Sarah Dina Smith, who directed, like, they did it kind of half and half. I believe he directed episodes 1, 2, and 5, and Sarah Dina Smith directed episodes 3, 4, and 6. So, between the two of them, we're able to really get the most out of this short story, because I think she understands character very well. She was able to really work with Dexter Saul Ansel for episode 3 to really bring out the essence of Egg, such that when that reveal comes at the end of episode 3 and, we find out who he truly is, there's something for everyone. There's something for those of us who knew, and there's something for those of us who were surprised, right? So I think it's nice that with the way they're telling the story, there's much for the audience to expect, and they're kind of catering to all the different kinds of people who'll be watching the show. but they're not doing it in a way that's pandering. They're doing it in a way that's prioritizing the actual story. On one hand, there's a story beat. On the other hand, it's like kind of the character development. And I think it makes sense. So this specific episode, episode 6, which is titled The Morrow, was written by Ira Parker and Ty Mickle, and it was directed by Sarah Adina Smith. And, that kind of follows with what I'm saying, right? This is kind of like a quieter episode where they're doing the Game of Thrones thing that we love. Not the big fights or the dragons, but just sitting in a room and talking. Like, that's kind of where this show tends to shine. That's where Game of Thrones always shone. And it's nice to see that, in a show where normally they'd be trying to, I think in a lesser show of this format, they'll be trying to pack as much as possible into the episodes, even when it's not necessary. But this show is not scared to just take a breather. And a breather is exactly what we need, right? After what happened in episode 5.
Yeah.
Right. So
I think you need the breather more than the rest of us, my guy.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. This is why I'm thanking people for their condolences and all the people who reached out to us, because you will actually think that I was on the battlefield. But yeah, it's crazy. Or at the very least, his son, which is some and his son,
which
son is
we'll
someone
get
I definitely
to in this episode too.
Yeah, his son is someone I want to talk about for sure. But yeah, how do we feel about Dunk's initial reaction, his guilt, and his discussion with Lionel?
I mean, it's all natural. I think he blames himself, rightfully so, because as someone who's very who buys into the imperialist nature that is Targaryen rule, he's going to view himself as responsible for causing the situation that caused the death of the heir, who would have been a good heir as far as we see it. And it sucks because it's not his fault, right? He did what you should do in those situations, but he's feeling a punishment of the imperialism system. It's sad. I feel bad for everyone involved, because it's just and the person who should get all the blame is just chilling in bed. I feel such anger towards that man.
Yeah, and we'll get to him in a second for sure. But I like that you brought that up, this whole thing of imperialism, because I think episode 5 did something very, very crucial in that it showed us how Dunk and Rafe feel about themselves. Like, they truly have internalized this idea that they are worth less than highborn people.
They are disposable, yeah.
Like, they really have internalized that. Like, they believe it. They almost, chalk up, they fight for their lives, but whenever things go wrong, yes, they're angry, but they're like, what did we expect? Like, it's not like we're worth anything. And that's reinforced to them, it's reinforced in their interactions with Alistair, whom I've actually since realized had only one hand.
Yeah.
That didn't really occur to me before, but yeah, he had only one hand. And he did mention that he used to have quick hands. And maybe that's why he took it so personally that Rafe kept stealing his stuff. He was like, I used to be a better thief than you. I'm not going to be outdone or stolen from by a gutter rat, as he calls them. So, Dunk is clearly feeling like he's cost the realm something. That's where his guilt is not just that he's somewhat responsible, even though he isn't really, but he kind of is, at least to him, responsible for the death of a husband, father, prince, hand of the king, heir to the throne, uncle, son. A family has lost him, but also the kingdoms have lost him. So Dunk is, I think in the book, there's something around this idea of, look at my legs, look at my hands. Like, I should be able to give one of them up for Baelor. All of this, this guy died just so I wouldn't lose a limb. Like, I would gladly give up one of them for that. And I think he does have that contemplation here in this episode too. So when he says, Baelor died for me, show him some respect. Baelor fought for me. And then Lionel's like, nigga, I fought for you.
Bars.
I fought.
Beesbury and
Harding died for you. Like,
yeah.
And it's so interesting to hear that from a Baratheon who is one of the 10 most powerful people in this, just on this continent. He himself is that. But even within his privilege, he's essentially saying, why are you looking at these people's lives as worth more than your own? Why are you looking at these people's lives as worth more than ours? Yes, he fought for you, but he wasn't the only one. All of us risked our lives for you. We are still here. Instead of celebrating the fact that we all lived, including you, You're here
They're crying
mourning
about
the
the
fact that
dragon.
the realm has lost someone who is literally designed to be replaced.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's another very interesting political statement there, which is a good dragon is a dead dragon.
Yes. Yes,
I
yes,
did
indeed.
not realize that brings up so many things, because it's like, I understand the Fossilways, right? Having
Yeah.
that animosity towards the Targaryens, being that they were descended from the first men who were
Yeah.
the original inhabitants of Westeros. The Baratheons came across the Narrow Sea with the Targaryens. It's actually even theorized that the first Baratheon, I can't remember his first name,
I think it's
but the first Baratheon
Oris
lord,
Baratheon.
is it Oris? Yeah.
Yes.
That he
was
was actually
Aegon's hand, right?
He was Aegon's hand, and
Aegon's
it's even
brother.
theorized that he was a bastard brother.
Yes,
of
it
Aegon.
is theorized. So, and that's something, right? This idea that the Baratheons have Targaryen blood in their lineage. And it happens at different generations. It happens right there at the
Yes.
beginning. It happens around Lionel's time too, actually. Because
It does,
Robert Baratheon's
yes.
grandmother or great-grandmother is actually
Is a
Targaryen.
Targaryen. Yeah.
So, this idea of Baratheons continuing to be so, disdainful towards the Targaryens, despite having literal kinship with them, is fascinating.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
I
it's
think it
very
makes perfect
interesting.
sense. It's like if the Brackwoods and the Bracken, who have been fighting for generations and are basically cousins because they keep intermarrying, can hate each other, then why can't the Targaryens and the Baratheons?
It's
That's
funny.
That's a good point. But I just didn't think the animosity would be so potent coming from someone so high up in the Baratheon.
It tells you where the
structure.
allegiances lie, and the fact that a lot of the High Lords are essentially in the situation that they're in and showing fealty because of honor and because they feel they have no other choice. But the thing is, we're getting to a point now in the history of the world where everybody's starting to realize, wait, maybe we do have a choice, because the thing that they use to keep us all at bay, they don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And another thing I was thinking is, could that also be a remnant of the Dance of the Dragons? Because from the point of view of most people in the realm, these Targaryens were just nuking everybody over a familial spat.
And that's exactly what happened. But then they made a mistake. After Rhaenys died, what did they do? They took her dragon's head and paraded it through the streets. That was Kristen Cole's idea. See, Kristen Cole, we're coming for you.
We're coming for you, Kristen Cole.
We're coming for you.
Just wait. More fire for Kristen Cole next
Kristen
season.
Cole will never have a home on this podcast. Let me just tell you,
he's just misunderstood, okay?
Wow, you're a Kristen Cole apologist.
It's because he has switched. It's because he has switched now. It's fine. We're being civil here.
Green.
He is Team Green.
It's crazy, but I do find it funny how they did that, and I remember watching that actually in season 2, episode 5, and thinking, this is the worst thing you could have done, because you are showing everyone that dragons can die, and part of you guys' power is literally the mythos that they can't, that they are untouchable.
Exactly,
and you're parading through the streets.
What I think leads to where we're at now.
It starts
Lords can literally say the best dragon is a dead dragon because they literally believe it. You know?
They believe it, and they believe that it's better for everybody. But moving on from Dunk now, let's go to his conversation with Valarr. Like, we've talked about what the realm was lost, but now let's hone in a little bit on what Baelor's family is going through. Valarr is Baelor's son and heir. He's the new heir to the throne. And he straight up asked Dunk about the notion that he has lost his father and the realm has lost basically its greatest asset, its greatest human resource for his sake. Was it worth it? What do you guys think of that conversation? And the fact that, the whole family is going to be explored at some point, right? We're still going to see all the other people. We may. Who knows what's going to come in season 2, which, by the way, for everyone listening to me right now, is coming in 2027. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, we may meet Valar's younger brother, Mataris, Bela's younger son, and the rest of the people who are descended from the current king, Daeron the Good. So, yeah, what did you guys think of that conversation? Like, was that kind of unhinged of him to say? Like, does that reveal anything about his character?
I mean, he's grieving, so
He's
can you judge him
grieving,
for what
yeah.
he says?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
I
a fair
think
point.
I think he also gets at the philosophical question of this episode, and the philosophical question that's plaguing Dunk, which is, why am I still here and
Mhm.
he isn't? Right?
And what
Like,
do I do
why
now
did
that I'm still here?
yeah, why would the gods take him, a person that, other than, the feudalism of it all, a person that was good and kind and competent, and leave me, basically a fraud? He asks Lionel that exact same answer, or question rather. And yeah, he asked, Valar asked, I think everyone has that question, which is why? Like, why would that happen? And
Yeah.
yeah, like Afam said, Valar is grieving. The line about how many fathers have died in their son's armor hits
Mhm.
so hard, because a big reason of why the death even happens is because he's wearing his son's armor, and
Yeah.
it's too small for him, and the blows cannot be kind of dissipated by the gap between the armor and his head.
And it calls back to something else. I think was it in episode 3? Yeah, I believe it was episode 3.
Yeah.
That's when he gives that's when Dunk tries to get armor from Steely Pate first, right? It wasn't episode 2 or 3. I think it was 3. And Steely Pate actually talks about how, this helmet is not fancy, but it will protect your head. Like, I don't need anything with like, pigs or anything else on
Yeah.
top. And and just to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, Baylor was wearing a helmet that was more ornate than strong. And, that literally we can see now was foreshadowing. That statement from Steely Pate was foreshadowing in that regard. And it kind of adds the tragedy.
I think you also have to consider, the type of jousting that Valar was expecting to do at this tournament, right?
Yeah.
Like, they were
This wasn't serious armor.
No, and
Yeah.
even the people he was challenging, it said in the books and in the show that he wasn't really like, it wasn't supposed to be like that intense, So
Yeah.
I'm guessing the armor itself wasn't like to the same level of protection as you would with like full-on battle armor, or battle ready armor. Shout out to Kids Next Door.
Shout out to Kids Next Door, indeed. But okay, putting Valar aside for a second, let's talk about his uncle, Maekar. Now, Maekar, first of all, shout out to Stam Spirell. First of
Listen,
all, just shout out to Stam Spirell for his performance, for his portrayal of Maekar, because
cinema.
I like I said, I've not really read the story, right? I've not read the story like that. But I've read stuff about Maekar, like in some of my own like research from several years ago, looking at, the characters of the Targaryen dynasty and all that. And, I think this guy really embodies the character even more than I thought. Like, this is one of those, it's one of those like, oh, I was not familiar with your game.
Yeah.
I just wasn't. Like, this could end up being a situation of like, Viserys the First, like Paddy Considine.
Yeah.
We get it. Like, we actually get it. Like, I really hope this is kind of like that in the way it's handled in the show, where Maekar actually becomes the real source of depth that we didn't know was truly there from the beginning.
Absolutely. Like, the way he portrays his grief is like, the acting he does with his eyes is just incredible in this episode, man. Like, just looking back to the Maekar of like that we meet at the beginning, and how like disdainful and prickly he seems.
Yeah.
And you can literally see almost like the airs outside of him. Like, he is so sad. And Sam Spurrier, amazing job. He definitely adds a lot to the character. not just in his relationship to Baylor, but we'll also get to his relationship to his sons as well. I think he's definitely the definitive character at this point.
I agree. I think there's a sense of the story needing to fill Baylor's shoes narratively, right? So I'm curious as to how many different characters will need to essentially grow to fill that hole left behind by this person, right? Maekar is already starting to cover the depth. We're going to meet more people who will kind of show more of where the family currently is. You know, Baylor's younger brother, Ares, and the brother after that, Rhaegal. You know,
yeah.
those two brothers in between kind of form a bit of a chasm relationally, I think, between Baylor and Maekar, the first and the last. And we kind of see similar relationships between, you know, Maekar's sons. And I'm looking forward to kind of exploring that family dynamic as we continue to learn more about them. I really enjoyed Maekar's discussion with Dunk. It was a real heart-to-heart. It was sincere, let me put it that way. You know, he calls him up and he understands what's happened, right? And he talks about the fact that they're going to say I killed my brother intentionally. And they're going to say he died because of you. We're going to hear it until the day we die. I realize now, this is kinship in a sense. Like, despite everything, he's somewhat finding kinship with Dunk. He's like, we've both lost something here. Or at the very least, we're responsible for something that has been lost to everyone else. And perhaps we can build together. So him kind of, you know, offering him a place in the household is a big deal.
It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. Especially considering that, you know, right before that, Dunk had pledged his service to Baylor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think also shout out to Dunk, man. Same thing he keeps doing. He keeps defending Egg in front of his dad and his uncle.
Yeah,
he does.
Because like his dad is like, yeah, you know, my stubborn ass kid. Like he likes you, so come with me. And immediately Dunk is like, nope, he's a good boy. Like my heart.
Yeah.
What a good lad, man.
This show has heart. It's nice. And actually, while we're talking about their conversation with them, I wanted to point out a few things for anyone who might not know. He mentions Summer Hall, and I realized that a bunch of people might not actually know what Summer Hall is. So how do I put this? If the Red Keep in King's Landing is Buckingham Palace, then Dragonstone is Windsor Castle. Summer Hall is basically Sandringham. And if you don't know what Sandringham is, go watch The Crown, because you need that in your life. But but Sandringham is essentially the British royal family's summer house. It's like their summer palace. And Summer Hall was essentially that for the Targaryens. It was lush. It was beautiful. It was practically in the reach. Like, it was like a pocket of just that lushness being brought to like this area near the Crown Lands and everything. And a lot happens in Summer Hall. And I feel like maybe Maekar is sort of resident there. Baylor, of course, being the heir to the throne, is the Prince of Dragonstone. But maybe Maekar sees himself as the Prince of Summer Hall, and maybe he just tends to spend a lot of time there with the family. Now, by the time Game of Thrones, the main series, starts, we do not hear much of Summer Hall for reasons I will not tell you. But what I will say is that it's a significant thing for Maekar to actually not just offer Dunk the chance to be around, but to be around in a way that's close to them, in a place that matters to them, in a place where they're comfortable, and in a place where he can be trained. You know, he says
exactly.
it. You know, Arlan did all he could, but now you get to be trained by royal masters at arms. You
and
train
you know
Egg,
something,
and they train you.
That's true. And something funny is that Lionel offers him the same thing. He's
Exactly.
like, bro, bro, your fighting skills are...
But he still beat Arian.
I mean,
Yeah,
One-on-one.
yeah, but he beat Arion by the skin of his teeth. I think if he's gonna last living the life he wants to live, he needs to be able
True.
to win in a way that's not like, oh, by the way, I almost died. Like you need to kind of have some leverage, some power. Oh, by the way, for everybody who's less familiar with UK stuff and maybe understands things in a more American way, Summerhall is basically Cap David. Let's just let's put it that way.
Yeah,
It's basically Cap David.
America.
Yeah, America. Don't get me
Freedom.
started. But I feel like we should talk a little bit about Lionel's offer, because Dunk has actually now been offered quite a lot this season. For somebody who's nothing and
jobs.
nobody in his own mind, they've tried to get him to give up attorney. They've tried to pay him to lose a fight. You know, they've tried to ask him to go away. They're trying to get him to squire a kid. They're asking him to take a job at Summerhall. Now they're asking him to take a job at Storm's End. It's just like, yo, this guy went from literally nothing and nobody to everybody loves his resume.
Everyone wants a piece, man. Everyone wants a piece. Yeah,
and it's funny because it's not because of his skill. It's because of the impact he has on them. Like we've been saying, he changes everyone he meets.
Yep.
He really does change everyone he meets. Like look at Maekar, right? We just said he was prickly at the beginning of the show. And look at him now, he's contemplative. Of course, he's grieving, he's feeling guilt. But I think the Maekar from episode 2 would have lashed out at Dunk. There's something different about this Maekar. Because I think on some level, he's like, you challenged my son. We fought you for it. And somehow you didn't just survive, you came out on top. You've essentially proved our point of view wrong. And there's something honorable in that. And I seek to honor you because I can see that my son will learn a lot from being around you. Like he understands the family dynamic of his own children. And while he doesn't want Egg far from his family, he believes that there can be something of a positive influence from Egg learning from someone this honorable. This is kind of like, it's like the next best thing to fostering, right? People foster their kids, they send their kids to learn something from other places, then they come back. But it's like, okay, what if we could get a hedge knight to actually be that person for our son? And on some level, you could say this isn't much of a risk for him. Egg is his fourth son, right? And he himself is a fourth son, right? So maybe he's like, this isn't going to affect much. Like, let me just handle my family by handling my family. But I think there's something significant there. I do think this means something to him because I think he's seeing that there's a positive change in his son post meeting Dunk. And I think that shows as well when Egg basically contemplates trying to kill Arion in his sleep.
That's true. That's true. But before we get there though, the fact that Egg is also listening in the corner, to his dad basically pitch Dunk, and here's Dunk, say no. Oh, which by the way, shout out to Egg, man. Dripped out this episode.
Dripped too hard.
Let me just say,
with his beret.
You see, you say that, but I feel like it wasn't his choice. I feel like it was either that or somebody.
Not.
It was either that somebody was going to beat him. Can you imagine sending your son somewhere and then you go to pick him up and then his head is shaved? I'll fight.
And he's wearing rags.
I will actually fight. Everybody's just tired of seeing his bald head. It's like, nah, bro, cover your head. Go and wear black.
Yes, cover that Egg up, man. But yeah, no. I think before we go to other scenes, and I actually want to go back to a scene that happened before Maker's offer, which is everyone loves Raymond. I'll call it that. But
you know what? I'm gonna clap for you.
Egg's conversation with Dunk right after is so Dexter again, man. You're a great actor. Is so sad and heartfelt because like he wants to go with Dunk. He wants Dunk with him, and Dunk is like, I just can't do it.
Do you think this is more about him wanting to be with Dunk or him wanting to be away from his family?
We will discuss that. I think it's both. I think it's both because that does come back again later. But let's do a quick rewind to our favorite force away. Our boy Raymond.
That whole thing was just insane on so many levels. I'm like, bro, did they? I guess
so
they just didn't have sex education.
They didn't.
This guy,
They didn't.
like, wow.
Honestly,
shout out to Red. Honestly, just shout out to Red because this is how you secure the bag.
Her name is Rowan. Okay, her name is Rowan. Okay,
Fair enough.
please. That's a Fossaway, a lady of the Fossaway. Okay,
Lady Rowan of
Treat
House
her with
Fossaway.
respect.
Oh
Lady
my God.
Rowan.
From Red to Lady Rowan of House Fossaway overnight.
Yes.
You know
Listen,
what?
talk about an
God gave her a brain.
upgrade from Manfred Dondarrion's concubine to literally.
Wait, by the way, what nonsense guy? Like he's actually a nonsense. Like what a waste man.
Nonsense guy, man. Waste man. But yeah, I'm happy for Raymond, man. He honestly came out the best. He beat his cousin that has been bullying him his whole life. Basically started his own house, and also got a babe all within the same weekend. I mean, this is a great day for him. Except, hopefully, if the baby is actually pregnant, it's not Manfred Dondarrion's baby. That'd be awkward.
At least we know whose baby it's not. His. That's one thing, that's for sure.
Oh my God. Wow. First of all, I guess, thank God he's happy. Like, I just loved Peter Claffey's performance in that scene. I loved just Dunk's whole reaction, just like, oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. It's like, okay.
Also,
like, just,
did you notice
just like,
she says, nice to meet you.
Yeah, and he's just like, yo. He's like, that's what you can tell. He's like, bro, wow.
Yeah, basically, that was her telling Dunk, don't cast. Like,
and he agreed. Like,
man.
is just wild, man. And after seeing, his childhood a little bit, you can understand how he would just be like, okay, yeah, we'll go with it. Because you know what's actually funny? Something I realized, that flashback is completely invented for the show.
Yes, it is.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is. Completely invented for the show, and it adds so much to the character. But yeah, same with another flashback that we get to right after Maker's offer, which is the flashback to Sir Arlen under the tree where he likely dies.
I think it is the place, actually. I think that is the place where he died. Like, I know there's a fake out and everything, but this really does seem like the moment right before Arlen dies, and like the moment in episode 1 where we see Dunk burying him, because it is the same location.
And the scene is interesting for a number of reasons. Number one, we get more Sir Arlen backstory about why he's called of Penny Tree, right?
Yeah,
he explains
I love that.
In his town, they would nail the pennies. And the sad part of that is how he says there was no more space for all the boys who went off to war. But I don't know whether he plays dead or is like just a quick in and out from the clutches of the stranger. But at that point, Dunk is asking him, why did you never knight me? Right? Mm-hmm. And he ends by saying a knight always finishes his story. Do you guys think he knighted Dunk before he died?
Nope. Nope. He's a fraud.
I'm glad we're on the same wavelength, because I was going to ask this, and I just knew, and I knew Afam would say no. I just knew Afam would say no. I actually think the answer is yes.
I think the answer is yes, and I think that scene.
Maybe I'm an optimist.
Okay, then riddle me this: why didn't he knight our Apple boy?
I mean, there could be a lot of reasons. Number one, he may not have known the words, right?
Okay.
We've established that Dunk doesn't know the words. We said it, actually, there have been at least 2 scenes in this season where he said, I don't know the words.
Like high speech. Secondly, in Westeros, a big part of your renown is who knights you, right? Mm-hmm. Dunk is just a nobody. It's like, if I knight this guy, who will vouch? Who will say, "Oh wow, Sir Dunk knighted you"?
Yeah.
Thirdly,
So you think he doesn't
they're
want to
about
saddle
to-
Raymond with that?
exactly, and also they're about to go fight people about to die. Imagine your friend is like, "Yeah, let's go, bro," and you're like, "Yo, you could actually die." Wouldn't you hesitate?
Well, first of all, he still went anyways for point 3. So whoever knighted him didn't matter. And for point 2, what was the point 2? I forget what you said.
Point 2 was basically the renown of the knight who knights you.
I promise you, everyone in the 7 Kingdom now knows who said Duncan at all is, because he
Or
resulted
9
in the
kingdoms,
death of
according to our geographer.
According to-
Egg.
exactly. Everyone in the kingdoms, even across the narrow sea, everyone knows who Dunk is now. So it's like, because he fought the first trial of 7 in 100, 200 years. That man is not a knight, bro. But like, if we want to be like optimist and everything, like hell yeah. I mean, he scammed, bro. Was that Drone the Scammer?
John
props to you, King. Props to
Dunk
you.
the scammer.
Dunk
I
the
don't know.
Scammer.
That scene is probably the biggest like indication to me. I won't lie. You have a lot of points in that Dunk. There's a lot of evidence that Dunk was actually not knighted. But that scene specifically, the fact that he had that conversation with Sir Arlan before he died, I just don't see Sir Arlan being like, "Oh, you just told me, why did you never knight me? All right, cool, peace." Like, I feel like that's not just something you can ignore after all that.
Maybe I'm a pessimist. I'll take it.
Maybe you're just mistrustful, man. Open your heart. You mistrusted our boy Egg. Now you're mistrusting Dunk.
Well,
Exactly.
I
I
have to
trusted
say,
Viserys. Look what he did. I trusted Rhaenyra. Look what she did.
I have to say, Afam has made a lot of points today, which is not
Did,
surprising. But I actually have to kind of give it to him because he may be right about one thing. He said many times this season that Egg is a liar. And
So was the bag over the head uncalled for?
bruh, I'm just okay. So my thing, right, is maybe it's just because he's a child. But let me ask you guys, if this had happened to you, everything that just happened, and you're the kid in question, are you going to then go back to Dunk without telling anybody? And just like, oh yeah, this is like, bro, that is like, help me here.
He
Like,
ran
He's
away
a wayward
again, bro.
child.
This
His
boy
dad said it.
is
He's a wayward boy.
unhinged. like,
Yo,
like in life, you need
listen,
to
man.
trust but verify. Like, I don't even know who to like. Is Dunk ridiculous for not verifying here? Because excuse me, like, bro, what? He just like, after everything that happened, they said,
She
they
ran
said
away,
extra
bro.
for you. I'm just, and then he barely asks questions, and he just says, okay, let's go. And he's just like, okay, it must be fine because now he's wearing cap.
cap for a cap.
Like, it's actually hilarious. It's actually so funny because like, okay, he's dressed properly this time. Somebody must know he's here. It's like, or they brought his closet. Like,
well, I think also Dunk wants to believe it too because of the conversation he ends up having
with Daron?
Daron at the Beesbury funeral. Which, by the way, did you guys notice that the King's Guard were there? That is such a major move. Like, literally, you killed this guy. You're stand up enough to still come to his funeral and be like, "Well, sorry, we didn't mean to." Shout out to them.
Shout out to them.
Also, I love that Ira Parker is such a nerd about the 7 kingdoms or 9 kingdoms.
Mhm.
And he inserts these like cultural references. The fact that the Beesbury burial is literally a bunch of bees in like
That's
a
fun.
hive made out of someone's body. I mean, that's so cool.
That's actually really nice.
But Daron says something in this scene that I think is what convinces Dunk to take Egg no matter what. So Daron says, well, 2 things. Firstly, he says, perhaps we will make a man of him too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically trying to say like, there's some nurture involved in why Arion ended up the way he is and why I ended up the way I am.
Yeah.
he also says Arion didn't always used to be like that. He liked fishing. I think that's the one that fully got Dunk because
he knows that
likes
Egg likes fishing. And yeah, I wondered as well, you know, I'm really glad you're bringing this up because I was going to ask you guys, what is it that makes Dunk actually decide to take Egg on after avoiding it the entire episode? And I wondered if people, like the audience, would be okay with this idea of Darren humanizing Arion in this way. I wonder if there are fans of the show and of the story that are, you know, I'm not saying that they're supporting Arion, but they're like the kind of understanding of the fact that this is a very young man who has, you know, is probably the way he is cannot necessarily just be his fault. Right. So it's like, how did he get this way? And I think maybe the show is trying to kind of get us to ask those questions through Darren, who, despite being the drunken, is the oldest son of Maekar, right? So he's seen a lot and he understands kind of what's at stake here. And I feel like, you know, all the people who are there in that tent, you know, they're kind of understanding what's been lost. Like they're all trying to kind of get more out of the situation. Like they're trying to salvage something. And I think Darren's goal is like, yes, all of this has happened. Yes, you think I should be too ashamed to come here. Sorry for you though, I need to drink. However, my brother needs you.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, Afam,
yeah.
what do you think, man? You're a big Arion hater. Do you think the Arion
I think Afam might be a big
works?
everything hater at this point, but
Apologini. You get pissed off now. Start. I'm gonna even go down that rabbit hole. It's just, again, it's every time a Targaryen is born, the gods flip a coin as to which side of whether they're going to be sane or mad. And this guy had chosen his side. So it's just unfortunate that like the society that is Westeros does to just remove his power. You know. Yeah. I'm not a fan, but who is a fan?
Dunk starts that conversation with Darren by saying, have you no shame coming here? Those men are dead because of you. And I do think that's a little bit of projection. I do think it's projection.
Absolutely.
Because how are you here after everything we just heard you telling Lionel and you're coming to tell somebody else those men are dead because of you? We know exactly who you think those men are dead because of. And it's you. So I think he's trying to look within and make sense of all of this. And, you know, actually, you know, I think that's part of the reason, again, like, you know, he chooses to take Egg on. And funny enough, this idea of trust but verify makes sense. I was kind of discussing this with Bankole, actually, and he had some words for Dunk. Let's roll the clip.
Dunk, bro, Duncan, I love you, man. Like you're my guy. This is a great first season. You're the greatest guy in the world, greatest knights. You're the hero the world deserves, or rather needs, but doesn't deserve. But bro, once Egg comes to you have to drag him to the palace and like, not even the palace, you have to drag him to his father and like, did you allow this guy come? How you just accept him like that? This guy lied to you. Dunk, come on, man. Dunk.
I think Dunk. I don't think Dunk is that dumb. I think
he is, bro.
Okay, I mean maybe
he is, bro. He is. Let's call a spade a spade. We still love him.
Dunk belongs.
As an orange.
Like not Bankole being right.
Oh my god. I no matter what happened, even if Maekar didn't want Egg to go with Dunk, I think if Egg still came back to Dunk, Dunk would have still taken him because Dunk doesn't want Egg to end up like his brothers.
Yeah.
And Dunk is a very caring person. I think he would have still done it. He would have been like, oh my God. But I think he would have still done it.
Yeah, probably. I mean, do we feel sorry for Maekar in all this? I mean, I think about the scene where he, you know, I mentioned earlier, you know, Egg looking at Arion in his sick bed and thinking, I'm going to end him here. but then notices that Maekar is there, and at first he's afraid, then he's sorry, then he's angry, then he's sad. Again, Dexter saw Ansel, bro, acting of that level.
Amazing.
for I think, what is he at this time, 9? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
It's incredibly impressive.
Incredible.
I love what
I mean,
Maekar
what
does
did
in
you
that
guys-
moment, right?
yeah,
hugged
I was
him.
going to ask, what was Egg thinking? Or what
He was
do
like,
you
okay,
guys-
what's going to happen to me? Like, now, okay, he knows how much I hate him. I can't hide that anymore. But then all he gets is love and understanding from his father. Like, Maekar, I guess, after being so prickly, is like, maybe on some level, there's something inside him that's now like, how about I just like show my son some love?
How
like, how
about
about-
parents?
Yeah, how about I just parent? Like, how about I just tell him, look, we can talk about this later, but what you need right now is your father's love, and I want you to know I'm here for you, right? And I think that's the place he's coming from when at the end of the episode, he's looking for Egg, he can't see him, and he starts panicking. Because, the funny thing about it, part of the reason for the trial was the accusation from Daron, because he's a dick, that
that Egg had been kidnapped.
Egg had been kidnapped by Dunk. And now,
Now
we're
he
actually in a
has.
situation, now that has happened now. Because Dunk came to Ashford on his own and Egg followed him. Now he's actually taking this boy away from here.
From his family, bro.
Oh
Guy,
my God.
There'll be another Trial by 7 next season. Season 2,
Oh.
Trial by 7.
Trial by 7-2, Electric Boogaloo. I mean,
Good God Almighty.
the scene where Dunk goes to kill Arion, there's so much in there that I'm
You
still
mean where
trying
Dunk
to...
or where Egg
You mean
goes?
Donk?
Oh, sorry, where Egg. Sorry,
I was
Egg.
like, was there some behind the
No,
scenes?
my bad. Where Egg goes to kill Arion.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about him touching his hair, seeing the Targaryen hair growing back, and then going from there
That was
to
what spurred
straight
him on.
murder?
Because he said in episode 3, I cut my hair off. I didn't want to look like you. He says that to Arion. So when he sees his hair coming back, that's basically not just his Targaryen nature manifesting itself. It's a reminder that he is like Arion. And he's like, well, if I can't run away from being like Arion, I need to get rid of Arion. I think there's a spur of the moment decision there where he feels, I have to do something about this. I have to take a stand, even if I go down swinging.
Yeah, and we've seen another Targaryen do something similar in Game of Thrones where they killed a certain queen, with a knife. Jon, Dany.
Yeah.
Stab, stab.
Yeah, oh my God. Targaryen on Targaryen violence, man.
We love to
That's
see it.
really the worst thing for the kingdom. Targaryen on Targaryen violence always leads to wahala.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
Look at the
it's-
statistics,
It's the whole thing
Yeah.
with and it
TNT
repeats
crime,
itself, right?
it's an
History
epidemic.
continues to repeat itself. That's the whole thing of the Blackfire Rebellion. And, sadly enough, it's the whole thing of this whole trial of 7, right? Maekar is the one who killed Baelor. So
That's
that is literal Targaryen on Targaryen violence. And, thinking about it from a structural point of view, like Baelor's death isn't just a tragedy or even simply an inciting incident. Baelor is the moral center of the story. And by extension, he's the moral center of the world of this show. So him being taken out of the picture or being removed from the board is a devastating thing. And it's extra devastating because there's no one to truly blame for it. Like, everyone has an opinion on who to blame. You could blame Arion, you could blame Dunk, you could blame Maekar, you could blame Baelor himself, right? But this is reality and it just happens,
Yeah. Well,
I think-
unless
I-
the gods had something to do with it.
I suppose, but that's what makes it hurt, right? And I think, events like this, freak accidents, like, they are shocking. Like, they come when you least expect them. It reminds me of a specific event that happens in the 3rd episode of Succession season 4 on a plane that I won't really talk about today. But I feel like, there's grief. There's grief that's being felt. And I think that is like an underlying theme, actually, of the show. Because we realize from the flashback in episode 5 that Dunk actually is spending a lot of his time grieving. We just don't know it, right? And he squired for a man who was consistently grieving. I thought, actually, Soonen, about what you said last week about Arlen doing all that drinking because of his nephew that had just died. whose name, by the way, was Roger, I think.
Roger of Pennytree.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I realized that he's singing in Dothraki.
Yes. Oh
Like,
my
it's a
God.
Dothraki
Thank you
song
for bringing
about
that
grief.
up.
And
Yeah.
he's singing, and so like he actually is spiraling, you know. So yeah, shout out to you for like actually seeing that this guy. Because at first I was just like, is this just how this guy lives?
Yeah.
It-
I
yeah,
don't
that
think
came
I
to
my mind
said it
before I
on the
realized.
episode, though. I don't think I said it on the pod. I did say it to you, but I don't think we
Yeah.
covered it on the pod. Yeah, it was Dothraki. And the guy who came up with Dothraki, or the person, I can't remember if it's a guy or a gal, but the person who came up with Dothraki posted the translation, as you said.
Yeah, he
and
did.
yes, it is
The
a song.
linguist Peterson. Yeah.
Yes, it's a song about grief. But that also brings up a question. How did Sir Arlen learn Dothraki?
Bruh. I mean, we know that there are some, like there are some Dothraki sellswords that kind of like have left, you know, the Kalasar, and like they've come over to Westeros and different parts. Maybe they're in the free cities. I think there's one that we meet in Game of Thrones. I think they called the Brave Company or something like that.
Brave
Companions or something like that. But
I don't know if they were Dothraki.
I think
but
there's some Dothraki among
sellswords.
them. I'm not sure.
Yes.
We have to check. But yeah, I found that very fascinating because like that's like a good call from the story to kind of have us pay attention to those themes.
I thought that man was just mad. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I
Like
thought
that's
that
how it
man was
looks. I'm
mad.
like, is
I thought he was
well.
tripping, bro.
But actually, you know, like again with themes, right? This show was all fun and games until it wasn't.
Exactly. Until it wasn't.
So my question now is, what Emmy category are they going to put this in? Like, can we really call this a comedy? People are calling this a comedy, but I don't know. This is like a half drama, mini
What's a
drama.
drama?
Half drama, half. I mean,
Like,
if The Bear is a comedy, I think this can be a comedy.
You know what? You're right. You're right, because it points out that I do not know how we are all here with our straight faces calling The Bear a comedy.
Yeah. I mean, there's funny parts, but if The Bear is a comedy, this can be too.
You know where else there are funny parts? Power.
Where
like, please.
Another thing though is the costuming. I keep bringing up the costuming, man. Like, listen, if you are the one doing the costume design for this show, come on the pod, please. Come on the pod. I have so many questions.
Yeah, we have
for
questions.
you.
Can we chat?
I have questions because everyone is so dripped out. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Trip too hard.
Yeah, I guess as we start to finish up here, you know, Egg does say something interesting to Dunk when they have their little one-on-one. You know, when because Dunk refuses Egg, he refuses squiring Egg to Maekar. He later refuses it to Darren. He kind of refuses it to himself, but he also refuses it to Egg, right, directly. And Egg says, maybe you're not the knight I thought you were. What do you guys make of that? Like, what was Egg truly expecting of Dunk? Like, what does he think that quote unquote knight I thought you were was? Like, is somebody who quote unquote breaks the rules, someone who's willing to stand up for certain things, someone who's willing to be a savior? Like, does Egg think he needs saving? Like, what do you guys get out of that?
Prince, oh my God. Oh, he's trying to guilt trip me. Oh my God.
Honestly, I agree with Afam here.
Yeah,
I think he's just a spoiled boy.
That's kind of how it
out.
was. It's just like, Dunk is like, bro, I'm barely breathing here.
I nearly died. Egg is like, but did you die?
But did you die, though? You'll be all right. You tough, right?
You tough,
Niggas
right?
get stabbed every day, B. You'll be all right.
Oh, wow.
Crazy, bro. Crazy.
That's so
Oh
funny.
my gosh.
That's so funny. Egg is actually very hilarious in this episode. Even that thing at the end that we keep talking about, the whole 7 versus 9 kingdoms.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
yeah, I think it's funny because I think when I first started watching Game of Thrones, I used to think about this too. I was like, is it just me or like, because I was like, okay, what are the 7 kingdoms? And then I looked into it and I'm just like, wait, but I'm counting more than 7. Did I miss something?
Yeah. No, and it's funny that no one has ever called it out in the show except Egg. But there's an in-universe explanation that makes sense. So the 7 kingdoms is based on the way the politics in Westeros looked as Aegon the First landed. And I think from there, it was probably perpetuated through the faith of the seven as well. Because I mean, if you're in the faith of the seven, you want to keep your 7 kingdoms because that kind of legitimizes you a bit. But the reason why it's 7, and Egg lists out all the separate areas of the 7 kingdoms, which is the north, the Vale of Arryn, the Iron Islands, the Riverlands, the Rock, which is like the Westerlands, Lannister area, the Reach, the Stormlands, the Crownlands, and Dorne. Oh, shoot. Am I missing one?
Nope, that's it.
That's 9.
Okay, good.
That's
all right.
it.
So, the reason why it's 7 at the time that Aegon lands is, if you guys remember the story of Harrenhal.
Harren the Black.
Harrenhal,
Yeah.
yes, was by this guy named Harren the Black. Harren the Black was from a house called House Whore. Not whore as
Come
in
again?
fun. Not whore as in our fun
H-O-A-R-E,
friends
folks.
of the night.
H-O-A-R-E.
Come
But
again.
H-O-A-R-E. And that house actually conquered the Riverlands. So they were a house from like
Because the Iron Islanders and the Riverlands they were always fighting, essentially.
Exactly. And back then, there wasn't really anything like the Crown Lands. That area was contested between the Storm Kings and the folks from the Reach. And another interesting thing to add is that literally Harrenhal was finished the day that Aegon landed, which tragedy for that
That's
house.
just an omen. That just tells you.
Bad omen. But the reason why, it was 7 kingdoms is because the Isles and the Rivers were 1 kingdom under the Whores, and the Crown. You too like whore, you this guy.
Allegedly.
You too
Yes, I beg you. If I speak, I'm in trouble.
We support our sex workers over here, man. Shout out to Rowan.
Wow.
But yeah, so the reason why is because no Crown Lands and also the Isles and the Rivers were 1 kingdom. And then Aegon coming in, he destroys the House Whore and basically raises up the Tullys to become the warden of the Riverlands. And I don't know how the Greyjoys end up taking power. I don't really care. I don't like
some
people are such nonsense people.
The Kingsman thing that they do, it doesn't matter.
Greyjoys are so exhausting.
But what's interesting, they should have made it 7 episodes if they're leaning into this theme of 7, not 6. Should have given us 1 more episode. Just
great point. But what would they have filled it with? It's such.
I think the pacing was honestly
story.
so perfect.
It
was perfect. I don't know what they would have just. I will always take fewer episodes that are strong over filler content, which is why when Game of Thrones first said, okay, we're doing 7, because of the track record so far, I was like, okay, you guys clearly have something really compelling. Turns out they didn't. But at the same time, maybe this show has that idea. Like, Severance did that in season 1. There was 9 episodes instead of 10, right? Watchmen also did that. And I think those ended up being pretty good outcomes. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they go on with the rest of the season. There are lots of things that they're doing differently. We talked a lot about the tone and all that, I like the Easter eggs and the way they're presented. They're not really in your face. Even honestly, the Targaryen group riding away from Ashford at the end of the episode, that kind of felt like one long string of Easter eggs in a way, because like you're seeing everybody together in the same place. You're actually seeing Aerion like literally like fighting for his life, trying to recover. And I wonder if he's even been told already that Maekar is planning to send him to the Free City.
Yeah.
Because I said last week that they should send him to military school. But I was right. That actually happened. They're getting rid of him. So we'll see if he ends up developing some manners.
He should go with Dunk. Aerion and Dunk.
Oh God.
Oh my God. Have you
God.
seen they had like an interview with Peter Claffey and Finn
I know,
Bennett,
right? And they're like best buds. I feel like the audience can't handle this cognitive dissonance.
The AO3 people, if you know, you know. The AO3 people are having a blast with fanfic between Dunk and Aerion.
Oh my
so
God.
if you are interested, I'm sure there's something on there for you.
Something for everyone, apparently.
There's someone for everyone.
Oh, see, there you go, using my words against me. But okay, so I have to ask you guys, actually, is this the first time modern real world music has been played at the end of an episode? Because that song 16 Tons by Tennessee Ernie Ford, like, I was like, what is this doing here? Like, it fit the vibe. It actually fit the vibe. It fit the
vibe,
but I was just like, wait, hold on. Like, am I hearing a guy singing like this is a Western? Like, what's going on? Ramin, where you at?
Oh, my store to the coffee store.
Like, I was like,
very nice song.
It's interesting for the tone, and it kind of balances certain things out, because I think they could have played that a bunch of different ways. They could have, because they had already shown, Dunk and Egg leaving, and they had shown even the symbolism of Arlen riding behind them and then turning, to say, my watch is ended, essentially.
Yeah.
And after that, it's like, okay, they could have ended it there, but then they showed the Targaryens leaving. They showed Maekar, looking for his son. And that could have been like a point of panic where it's like, okay, we're ending on a tense note. But it's like, nope, they made it funny. They made it kind of like worrisome, but a little bit funny, which I think was just the right amount. And I love that.
Also,
shout out to you, Sarah.
I keep saying this. This show is about class warfare as well.
Facts.
And that song is a song about class warfare.
Class warfare, yeah, it is.
Yeah, the guy in this song is talking about how if people don't know what company towns are, it was a practice that was used way back in the day in the United States, where a company would set up a town with their own currency and basically shortchange their employees.
Some companies try to take it to the extreme.
Exactly.
I'm looking at you, Walt Disney Company, but okay.
by basically exploiting them and putting them into debt, which is why the guy says he owes his soul to the store. But yeah, I think that was a note of that as well, that this is a show about ordinary people trying to make their way in a system that's stacked against them. Well, one ordinary person in this case.
Maybe Dunk and Egg are on their way to Tarth.
Do we want to talk about Tarth?
I think we want to talk about Tarth.
What's in Tarth?
What's in Tarth?
I don't know, but I think there's a person. This person there, I think her name is Brienne, or at least she will be from there. Yeah.
You mean the Lord Commander of the Night, the King's Guard, Brienne?
But
her.
To keep in mind, before people get confused, she does not exist.
She does not exist yet. Yes, she's. But I think the point we're trying to make here, for anyone who hasn't quite picked up on it yet, is there is a rumor / basically a confirmation at this point that Brienne of Tarth is a descendant of Sir Duncan the Tall. So I wonder how that's going to come about. I wonder who he's going to meet. I wonder if this has anything to do with Tanzella as well, because Dunk clearly has a type, but I don't even have time to talk about that right now. But yeah, that would sort of be interesting, because Brienne of Tarth has very is very blonde,
blue eyes. I'm just
gonna put that out there.
Blue eyes.
I'm just gonna put that out there, because there's some, there's a certain family of extremely blonde people that has kind of gone extinct by the time Game of Thrones starts, and then all of a sudden Game of Thrones season 2 we start to see Brienne of Tarth, and then later we find out that she's descended from Dunk and the Tall. I'm just like, Dunk, what were you up to? But
what
whatever.
was Dunk up to? We would all like to know.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's probably a good place to call it. So, my final question: what do we think of the House of the Dragon trailer, season 3? I guess the teaser, more like, but yeah, it looks good. It looks good.
It looks good, but
we're wary. We're holding our breath, but it looks good.
Yeah, well, I'm wary about choices that appear to have been made in regards to the timeline of the story. I can't really reveal what I'm
we
talking
literally can't
about
at the moment, but yeah, I guess we'll just have to see.
Exactly.
We'll have to see. So I guess on that note, thank you guys for this season. This has been so much fun. And yeah, people, we will be back because Kristen Cole needs to be flogged. So just give us a few months.
Excuse me.
Oh my
some respect
God.
to my boy's name.
Your boy.
Kristen Cole is your boy. Kristen Cole is your boy.
His king. He's serving his king, all right?
Fake ass king. Usurper ass king.
The rightful king of these 7 kingdoms.
If he's a king, why is he on the run? with a guy who likes
Ah.
feet.
Guy, man, you know, sometimes, bro, the feds be watching, you know.
Wow.
I'm kidding. Oh, fuck that nigga.
Thank you.
Fuck that nigga. I'm still Team Green, but him, no. He's on this too much.
Yeah,
Wild.
we'll see about that after the next season.
Okay. Thank you all for listening up until this point. This has been incredible. Thank you again, Afam and Soonen, for your insights, for the jokes, for the bands. Thank you, Uncle. That one time you showed up. And please listen to everything else that we're covering. We're still talking about industry twice a week. That show is also insane. And
Crazy.
I think the things that are happening there are enough to make anyone sort of question what they're doing in their own career. So please check out industry, then check us out talking about industry, and then we can all just kind of be, I guess, perplexed together at how some people just get away with the things that they get away with. We have a lot coming down the pipeline. This Cinema is preparing some amazing things on some amazing movies, so stay plugged in for that. And I guess till next time, don't leave home without telling your parents.
Or do. Yo, guys, man, this was mad fun.